tonight. My name is Murray Grande. I'm your announcer, commentator, and joining me at the broadcast booth is the one and only Slim Trim DJ Fatty LaBelle.
What's up, y'all? How you guys doing tonight? Thank you for coming out and supporting Tilted Thunder.
TTRB is riding high off a very prolific off season. Just a month or so ago down in Phoenix, Arizona, the TTRB All-Stars went against every single bank track league in the known world, despite not having a permanent home, despite that this track stays in storage most of the time. Tilted Thunder Railbirds is the fourth best team in the entire GD world. And our junior league, the Peeps, also picked up third place in the junior bracket there. Woo! Buy baked goodies to support them. Anyway, tonight we've got our season 6 opener. It's going to be a humdinger. It's going to be a slobber knocker, a Donnybrook, a Pier 6 brawl. First game is going to be the rolling blackouts versus Saint Hellions. And in your main event tonight, we'll feature the Sugar Skulls versus Royal Crush. Who's excited to see Bank Track Derby this afternoon? All right, we got a little bit of pomp and circumstance beforehand. Please rise as we will have the national anthem sung by Sugar Skull skater Missy Fatal.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Whoa, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Missy Fatal, and she will be just as angelic at the after-party karaoke. And one more thing before we start. If you are new to the sport of bank track roller derby or need a quick refresher on the rules, please gaze at the big screen for a quick derby demo.
All right, everybody, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the St. Hellions! All right, number 16, Candy Corn. 1999, Sci-Fi Wasabi. 2x4, Lumber Smack. Number 27, Alienator. 300, Scream Puff. Number 31, Dirty Destroyer. Number 38, Fingerbang. 441, Crusher Frequency. Number 506, Melee. Number 53, Raven Seaward. Number 808, Caddy LaBelle. Number 99, Gringa Kapinga. D20, Damsel of Doom. And H1N1, Pandemic. They are coached by Tyler Burden and bench managed by Meanie Reenie. Ladies and gentlemen, the St. Hellions!
And their opponents in the blue and the gold, the reigning, defending, Tilted Thunder Railbird season champions. Give it up for the rolling Blackouts. And they are 12 Steps Betty Ford Galaxy. F1T, the Foxy Opossum. 187 Cold Case. 32 Honey Badger. 34 Berserker. Number 44 Aurora Borealis. 4'8" knee-high Nightmare. Slaughterhouse 5'1". 6X Shanita Penalty. Number 75 Plunder Woman. And 7 Shadowbreaker. And 313 Hawk Blocks. These are the rolling Blackouts. Blackouts are coached by Lexi Luther and Moan Rath. And a quick shout out to our referees and officials, the agency, Brick Howitzer, Brimstone Jack, Darth Lannister, Aaron Williams, Jack Hart, John Q. Law, Judging Your Sins, Crazy Lady, Mansplainer, Maraschino Jerry, Ruina Rippenclaw, Santa, Sir Drinks a Lot, Sweet Divine, The Amazing Matt, The Big A, and The Canadian. Yay rules. That's the first whistle to signal the beginning of Season 6, Bout 1. Skaters are taking the track. Jamming for St. Helens is 99, Gringa Kapinga against N7 Shadowbreaker.
Shadowbreaker starting out way at the back of the jammer box. Gringa Kapinga starting right at the back of the pack, but N7 Shadowbreaker is able to come out as lead jammer for the Rolling Blackouts.
Green and Pingo right behind her, held up with a great block there by Plunder Woman. Shadowbreaker hits it, calls off the jam mid-air. Unable to score any points, but taking that great flying leap. Huge risk there. Going for broke, but it's time to line up and do it again with a score of 0-0.
Number 34, Berserker on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts, taking on 2x4 Lumber Smack for your St. Hellions.
Pandemic just rocking Berserker into the rail, but number 34 dips down low, gets through. Second lead gem in a row for Rolling Blackouts.
Both jammers out of the pack. You see the St. Hellions trying to speed up that pack, but the Rolling Blackouts front four wall there really slowing things down, letting Berserker come on through, going up to the high side, and she calls the jam.
All right, so never too early to start thinking about the after party. That is going to happen at Two Beers Brewery, located. Oh wait, nope. Hey, get Two Beers Brewery at the beer garden back there. I'll tell you about the after party later. We got one blocker down. Raven Seaward sitting in the penalty box. So Rolling Blackouts have a 4-3 blocker advantage. They are sending Slaughterhouse 5'1" to the jam line against Melee .506 of St. Hellions.
Bull, the jammer, stuck in the middle of the pack right now, but Slaughterhouse 5'1" goes to the high side and comes out as lead jammer.
Melee caught behind that solid steel four wall, gets blocked to the inside there by Shadowbreaker, going both ways, offense, defense now. Slaughterhouse 5'1" into the fracas, busting right through that pack. Melee has made the initial trip. Slaughterhouse 5'1" has one to beat, gets through, calls it off, extending the Rolling Blackouts lead by 4. It's now 7-0. Hey, the after party is going to be at the Route 2 tap room right here in Monroe. It's just a mile and a half east of here on State Route 2. There's going to be karaoke. There's going to be drink specials. There's going to be lots of good decisions made at the Route 2 tap room. Dirty Destroyer and Berserker are the jammers. Blackouts are down one blocker in the penalty box. And Dirty Destroyer goes around the upside of the top apex. First lead jam this game for St. Hellions.
St. Hellions jammer Berserker trying to fight up against Raven Seaward at the front of the Hellions wall. Raven Seaward maybe getting a little bit out of play. No, doesn't seem so. Yeah, Dirty Destroyer got a big hole on the low side, comes around after her initial pass.
Raven Seaward, of course, a world-class skater with the LA Derby Dolls for a long time. Won many Battle and Bake champions with the LA Riots. And now Dirty Destroyer coming through, laying a hip on Honey Badgergan back on the track, calling off the jam. 9 points for the St. Hellions. They take the lead 9-7. We have 8 minutes remaining in the first period.
Shadowbreaker on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts, starting way back in the back of the box. Scream Puff on the jam line for the St. Hellions. Both jammers in the middle of the pack right now.
Kettlebell bringing Shadowbreaker to the inside. Scream Puff in a car crash there on the backstretch. Taking out hard to the main side, bounces right back up, caught behind, hawk block, Slaughterhouse 5'1", dips down low, gets through. Second lead jam in a row for St. Hellions.
Shadowbreaker deposited onto the inside of the track by number 99, Gringa Kapinga. Scream Puff is your lead jammer for the St. Hellions, and she makes her way into the middle of the pack, goes to the high side. A little bit of assistance by number 27, and coming around for another scoring pass.
That 27 Alienator from the Dockyard. Derby Dames with that great screen there. Shadowbreaker knocked to the inside again. That's 60 seconds. That's the jam. Did Scream Puff get to the back of the pack in time? She did. 7 points And that extends the St. Helens lead 16-7.
Knee-high Nightmare, longtime skater with the Rat City Roller Girls on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts.
But it's Damsel of Doom who gets through at turn 1, lead jammer for St. Helens. Damsel of Doom, one of the captains, or used to be, of Rainier Roller Girls.
Each team has a blocker in the box. So we got even blockers on the track, but that doesn't matter for Damsel of Doom, who comes around for her scoring pass as lead jammer for the St. Helens.
Knee-high Nightmare going up, going down, sees a whole lot of St. Helens in front of her. Damsel of Doom completes a second scoring pass untouched.
St. Helens front wall there really slowing things down, really allowing their jammer to come around back into the pack for another scoring pass. Oh, and Damsel of Doom gets through, cuts through it like a hot knife through butter.
Check that score off of announcer bingo.
It's all right, Murray. I have no problem saying the stupidest things on a microphone. It's all good. St. Helens extend their lead 31 points with a 15-point jam by Damsel of Doom.
Gringa Kapinga and Slaughterhouse 5'1" both fall to the inside. St. Helens jammer gets caught up there by Caddy LaBelle. Gringa Kapinga get around Betty Ford Galaxy. Lead jammer St. Helens by an eyelash. Remember, Bank Track Roller Derby, the lead jammer position is fluid. Whoever's in the front at the moment can get a green. Kapinga hits the back of the pack, calls it off. Unable to score. No, take it back. 2 points.
2 points for the Hellions. Looks like the Blackouts were not able to get to the back of the pack before Gringa called that off.
Now it's a Foxy Opossum versus Pandemic. Blackouts, Hellions respectively, with a 4-4 pack that they are stuck in the middle of, but not Pandemic. St. Helens jammer gets through, gets lead status.
Foxy Opossum fighting up against Dirty Destroyer, and Sci-Fi Wasabi breaks her way out and comes around for working on her initial pass. However, Pandemic has one Blackout to beat, and she does, and she is out again and calls the jam.
If you're hungry, go to the Peeps Bake Sale table located trackside at turn 1. They've got Krispy Kremes, they've got fresh pizza, they've got home baked goods, and every penny benefits Tilted Thunder Railbirds Junior program.
N7 Shadowbreaker back on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts, taking on Melee for the St. Helens.
In a bit, because we have an official timeout being called.
This timeout brought to you courtesy of Santa.
And Meow Cat Rescue, because all 9 lives are precious. Meow promotes lifelong relationships between people and companion animals, providing shelter and care for each precious life until adopted into a forever home. Stop by their table at the entrance to learn more and to pet the kitties. Because Derby Schmerby, we all just want to pet the kittens. Well, speaking of blackouts, don't forget that the after party is going to happen at the Route 2 tap room, just a mile and a half that way on Route 2.
Just a reminder, it's never too early to start thinking about the next bout, which is October 14th, right here at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds here in Monroe. Mark it on your calendar. You're not going to want to miss any bout that Tilted Thunder puts on.
Looks like there may have been an official review on the track as both coaches went to talk to the head referee.
Interesting fact about head referee Brimstone Jack. He is actually also a volunteer for Meow Cat Rescue.
Aw, that's nice. There's a significant lack of mascot dancing during this timeout. Get in front of your people.
All right, everybody, we are back. Nobody in the penalty box. Shadowbreaker for the Rolling Blackouts going to the high side, but is stopped by the back two wall of the St. Hellions. Melee running up against the front of that Blackouts wall, and that allows Shadowbreaker to go to the high side and comes around as lead jammer.
Melee just flattened there by Slaughterhouse, 5'1", with a big old Rainmaker shoulder. Shadowbreaker now in scoring position, bouncing off Caddy LaBelle. Melee takes a huge shoulder there from Betty Ford. Galaxy stays on her skates, but knocked down by Plunder Woman, and the Materfamilias of Tilted Thunder, our league founder, gets through, makes the initial pass for St. Helens. Shadowbreaker scoring 4 points on that jam, chipping away at Hellions' lead. It's going to be 37-11 with a couple minutes before our first quarter break. One blocker from each team sitting in the penalty box. On the jam line, Dirty Destroyer and Berserker. Dirty Destroyer going Red Rover right through the center of the pack to pick up a lead.
And Berserker is also out of the pack as jammer for the Rolling Blackouts. Dirty Destroyer is your lead jammer, gets through the pack once and calls it off.
Great job by the Hellions defense there, holding the goat, allowing Dirty to catch up just as quick as you could spit, get through, call it, score those points. 4 of them to be exact.
First time on the jam line tonight for Alienator for the St. Hellions, taking on Slaughterhouse, 5'1" for the Rolling Blackouts.
Shadowbreaker and Damsel of Doom sit in the penalty box. So we have a 3-3 pack after this rolling blackout team timeout. Make that an official review. Yeah, so rolling blackout official review. And I'd like to remind you that tomorrow, right here at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds, after the mascot hype, of course. I come right back here tomorrow, all you derby players, anyone who wants to put wheels on their feet. There is an all ages, all genders open skate from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., followed by an adult female only scrimmage from 12:30 to 2 p.m. right here at the Monroe Fairgrounds. $10 gets you into both. You can do either or. Then immediately following the scrimmage, we'll tear down the track. If you commit to stick around and help for a minimum of an hour and a half, your entry fee will be waived. Check out the Tilted Thunder Facebook page for event information. It'll be fun, it'll be exciting. How often do you get a chance to skate on the bank track? Do it. Well, I'm guessing that penalty challenge was successful because rolling blackouts fielding all four blockers. Hellions still down one. Alienator, number 27, jamming for the Hellions against Slaughterhouse, 5'1". Nope, knee-high nightmare.
Alienator out of the pack first for the St. Helens. She is your lead jammer.
Knee-high nightmare splits right through the center of that pack, making the initial pass for rolling blackouts. Alienator now goes up high. Oh, taken out by Aurora Gory Alice. So that calls off the jam from the Masonite. Scores 3 more points for the Hellions.
Rolling blackouts, sitting a blocker this jam, giving the St. Helens the 4-3 pack advantage. Slaughterhouse 5'1" on the jam line for the rolling blackouts, taking on Damsel of Doom, D20 for the St. Helens, who comes out as lead jammer.
Slaughterhouse 5'1", pinballing off of every orange jersey. Season opening there at turn 3, escapes for initial pass. Damsel of Doom now on a scoring trip, leaving a trail of bodies in her wake. Calling off that jam, scoring 4 more points, and that's how we end the first quarter. So St. Helens have the lead 48-11. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. Come back here for the second quarter. So get your treats from the Peeps Bake Sale. Visit
Nobody in the blocker box, so we have a 5-on-5 pack.
Shadowbreaker and Gringa Kapinga are the jammers of record. Both of them taken down to the low side. Betty Ford Galaxy throwing shoulders, knocking Gringa Kapinga to the infield, but the St. Helens jammer bounces right back up. Shadowbreaker caught behind that solid steel 3-wall there on the back stretch. Gringa Kapinga going up, going down, seeing a whole lot of Slaughterhouse 5'1", and another shove to the inside by BFG.
Gringa Kapinga trying to fight her way through Cold Case and Plunder Woman and Betty Ford Galaxy, and it's not until they are blocking out of play that Gringa Kapinga is able to come out as lead jammer for the St. Hellions.
A lot of time taken on that initial pass. Gringa Kapinga hitting the pack as the jam clock expires. Three points there right before the whistle blew for St. Hellions.
Number 34, Berserker on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts.
Against Lumber Smack of St. Hellions, who sees a 4-2 blocker advantage.
A Lumber Smack trying to get through that front two wall of the Rolling Blackouts with a little bit of help from Pam Demick, but that front two wall.
Yeah, Honey Badger, who's a one-woman four-wall, holds Lumber Smack in the pack. Berserker gets through on the front stretch. Lead jammer Rolling Blackouts.
All right, Lumber Smack able to get out of the pack, coming around on her initial pass. Rolling Blackouts really trying to slow things down. Berserker back in the middle of the pack, taking on Sci-Fi, Wasabi, Raven, Seward.
Berserker calls off the jam, but Lumber Smack fells through that back wall. Gets 2 points for rolling, or for St. Hellions. Wait. Or did I get that backwards? Yeah, 2 points for Blackouts. 3 for St. Hellions. Empty penalty box for Melee and Slaughterhouse 501 to wear the stars.
Jammer's taking different approaches here. Slaughterhouse 541 going to the high side, and that works out for her. She comes out as lead jammer. Melee gets deposited to the inside of the track, has to recycle back around to the backside and come across that back three wall. Huge hole on the high side for Slaughterhouse 5'1". She finds it, comes through for a scoring pass.
Slaughterhouse 5'1", oh, gets rammed up against the rail by 27 Alienator and clipped down there by Scream Puff, making this scoring pass a lot more difficult than the last. Rolling Blackouts defense clamping down on Melee, who has yet to make an initial pass.
Slaughterhouse 5'1's got a little slowed down in the middle of the pack there, but she saw a little opening on the high side, squeaks through, and calls off the jam.
Referee Ty Dillinger said that jam was a 10. 10. 10. Thanks, one guy.
Rolling Blackouts decreasing the St. Hellions lead.
Dirty Destroyer gets lead jammer status at the top apex for St. Hellions. And that is
Honey Badger jamming for the Rolling Blackouts, comes out for her initial pass.
Dirty Destroyer plows straight through the center of that pack, calls off the jam, scores 4 more points, extends out the Hellions lead 58-23, 7 minutes before halftime.
Shadowbreaker on the gem line for the Rolling Blackouts, taking on Scream Puff for the St. Hellions. Shadowbreaker going one-on-one with Caddy LaBelle, who deposits her to the inside of the track. That allows Scream Puff to come around. I don't see who. Okay, Shadowbreaker is your lead jammer.
Oh, they traded lead jammer status like baseball cards there for a second. Shadowbreaker now has it coming into the back of the pack, hits Caddy LaBelle, calls off the jam, scores 1 single solitary point. That's more than the Hellions got, though. 58-24 is the score right now.
Number 34, Berserker on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts, taking on D20, Damsel of Doom for the St. Hellions. Both jammers in the middle of the pack. Damsel of Doom goes to the low side, tiptoes on the coping, and comes out as lead jammer for the St. Hellions.
I'm surprised she stayed in bounds, but Damsel made that saving throw. Already coming back around in scoring position. Oh, but taking a huge rainmaker there from Aurora Borealis. Bounces up and through for a St. Hellions scoring pass.
Raven Seward and Pam Demick putting on a blocking clinic against Berserker and the Rolling Blackouts. Oh, Damsel of Doom tries to tiptoe on that coping again, not able to stay in bounds.
That time rolled a 1. Gets taken down to the inside once again. Damsel of Doom calls off the jam as she saw a 5-wall of Rolling Blackouts. Berserker going straight defense there. And a lot of riding on that inside whiteboard.
Looks like we've got a low block, and they have turned the board away so I can't see. 2 blockers in the penalty box for the Rolling Blackouts. Oh, wait, there's more.
So, Damsel of Doom at the moment sitting in the penalty box. So what we could have is our first power jam of the afternoon.
NSO Gun Show brought to you by Christmas. You don't get guns like that by dropping off less than 2.5 million presents worldwide.
Santa only cares about 2 things, his freaks and his peaks. So as it stands, from what I can read, Blackouts will be down 1 blocker. There's going to be Blackouts down 2 blockers. Hellions down 1, and the Jammer. So huge power jam opportunity for Rolling Blackouts and Shadow Breaker.
And there is the whistle. Shadowbreaker starts out, go to the high side on her power jam, comes out on her initial pass. Slaughterhouse 5'1" and Cold Case, or nope, I'm sorry, Hawk Block trying to keep a goat in the back. Shadowbreaker sees a small opening on the high side, tiptoes, goes around, comes around for her first scoring pass.
Hellions have that front wall established, trying to dictate the increased speed of the pack. Shadowbreaker now with a juke and a jive, goes through the high side. Little bit of friction there from Scream Puff, but keeps on skating for scoring pass number 2.
Melee able to get out of that goat position and speed up the pack, but it is not enough to keep Shadowbreaker at bay. She finds a tiny little hole on the low side, a little tiny apex jump, and that is it for this Blackouts Power Jam. 15 points by the Rolling Blackouts and Shadowbreaker. Coming up 39 points now to the St. Hellions 66. The Hellions lead is quickly diminishing.
Blackouts with a 4-3 pack advantage now. Slaughterhouse 5'1" and Dirty Destroyer wearing the stars.
Both jammers running into a little bit of interference in the back of the pack, but Dirty Destroyer ping pongs her way through the middle of that pack and comes out as lead jammer.
Slaughterhouse almost had that lead jammer status cinched up, but a good tap to the inside there by Lumber Smack helped Dirty Destroyer make the escape. Who gets on a scoring pass, calls off the jam. Picking up 3 points for the Blackouts. Make that all 4. Two minutes and change remain in the first half. We have Alienator jamming for Hellions against Shadow Breaker. In front of them is a 3-3 pack.
Shadowbreaker trying to play a little defense right there off the jam line. Whatever skate slips out from underneath her gives Alienator a little bit of an advantage towards the front of the pack, and Alienator comes around and gets that lead jammer status for the St. Hellions. Caddy LaBelle going one-on-one with Shadowbreaker. Shadowbreaker trying to slow things down, maybe play a little bit of defense. But there's a huge hole on the high side of turn 3, allowing Alienator to come around for another pass.
Shadow Breaker busts right through the center of the pack. That is the Blackout's initial pass. Alienator goes high, almost untouched for another scoring pass.
Saint
10 points for St. Hellions. That brings them up to 79 to Blackouts 43.
Just over 1 minute to go in this second quarter. Plunder Woman on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts, taking on Damsel of Doom for your St. Hellions.
Damsel of Doom held back by Slaughterhouse 5'1" for about half a lap almost. Plunder Woman caught behind Raven Seedward. Pam Demick extends out the pack, gets through. Lead jammer status for the Rolling Blackouts.
We have a jammer cover star pass. Pam Demick gets it for the St. Hellions and is coming around on her initial pass as a jammer for the St. Hellions. Plunder Woman making her way back to the middle of the pack and calls it off before Pam Demick can get some points.
Remember, after the main event tonight, there's going to be an all-ages skater meet and greet. It's going to be trackside, probably by the bake sale table, because the skaters are going to be hungry. Then they're going to be thirsty, and everyone's headed to the Route 2 tap room for our after party.
Gringa Kapinga for the St. Hellions and Berserker for the Rolling Blackouts, wearing the stars on their helmet. Gringa Kapinga meeting up with Knee-High Nightmare at the front of that wall. Knee-High Nightmare gets pushed out of play and has to let Gringa Kapinga go, and she is lead jammer for the St. Hellions.
Berserker goes for a offensive hit there on Green Kapinga, sending the St. Helens jammer to the inside. But number 99 recovers, but gets blocked there by that solid steel 3-wall of Aurora Borealis. Knee-High Nightmare, Honey Badger. Pack gets extended out past that 20-foot engagement zone. They got to let her go for a scoring pass.
Caddy LaBelle sending Berserker to the inside of the track. Berserker at this point maybe playing a little bit of defense for the Rolling Blackouts as Gringa Kapinga comes around for another scoring pass. 9 points for the St. Hellions.
And that is how we are going to go to halftime, with St. Helens leading 87-45. It's going to be a 15-minute intermission. So if you're of age, go back, buy your beers. I suggest the Lime Loca. Yeah, really good.
Looks like we're going to start off with a few people in the penalty box. The St. Hellions sitting a blocker and a jammer. Rolling Blackouts sitting a blocker, giving the one and only Shadowbreaker a power jam for the Rolling Blackouts.
Not on Santa's watch. A little bit of confusion there in the blocker box. And make sure we dot all the T's, cross all the I's, make umlauts all over the lowercase j's.
And as the officials cross all those J's and dot all those I's, I'd just like to give a special thank you and shout out to our volunteer EMTs, Andrea Eichelman and Anita Powell, a.k.a. Rogue Scalpel.
Looks like that was a team timeout taken by St. Hellions. They just want to make sure everyone in the beer line has a chance to get their seat. I can't stress this enough. Get the Lime Loca. It is delicious and nutritious and makes you prettier.
All right, and there's the whistle. Officials already. Timeout is done. Oh, and unfortunately, looks like the Peeps table over there with the food is out of pizza.
I will get to that later. Shadowbreaker on the Blackouts Power Jam with a 3-3 pack that she is in the midst of.
Caddy LaBelle sending Berserker to the inside of the pack, and then Shadowbreaker getting hit up to the high side of the rail.
Raven Seaward all over Shadowbreaker like stink on a wrist guard from high to low and back again.
St. Hellions doing a great job at blocking Shadowbreaker, keeping her on her. Actually, she hasn't even got out. There she goes and is out on her initial pass.
A lot of time being taken off on that initial pass. Great penalty kill by the St. Hellions 3-wall. Shadowbreaker hits that pack, bounces right back off of it onto the concrete. I don't know if she was able to legally pass anyone. No, got 2 points. 3 points. Passed one blocker on the track. Got the 2 ghost points sitting in the penalty box. So chipping away at that lead, 87-48, still in favor of St. Hellions.
Dirty Destroyer on the jam line for the St. Hellions, taking on Slaughterhouse, 5'1" for the Rolling Blackouts. Dirty Destroyer going to the high side, able to get on past Plunder Woman, but Slaughterhouse 5'1" on her heels, forcing Dirty Destroyer to call it off, and a big hug between the two jammers as they go to the infield.
I'm not sure if she was calling off that jam or was the newest member of the Bullet Club. Find a friend of Japanese wrestling to explain that to you.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Foxy Opossum and Scream Puff are the jammers, the former of whom gets lead for Rolling Blackouts.
Foxy Opossum screaming around the track. Scream Puff doing her best to catch up. Huge hit, putting Foxy Opossum onto the infield.
And Scream Puff comes out of nowhere like an RKO, steals lead, jammer status, collecting points, racking them and stacking them, gets knocked to the inside by Honey Badger.
Scream Puff is still your lead jammer, trying to fight up against that 3-wall up on the front by the Rolling Blackouts. They are out of play and have to let her pass. The Foxy Opossum trying to get through between Caddy LaBelle and another St. Hellions blocker on the back of the wall there.
Screen Puff came in for scoring pass number 2, but absolutely shut down by Honey Badger. So we have 3 points there for Rolling Blackouts.
5 points for the St. Hellions.
(92-51) with 8.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Now it's Slaughterhouse 5'1" jamming for Blackouts against D20 Damsel of Doom for St. Hellions. And this official timeout taken because Santa just wants attention. So everyone look at Santa. Everyone
Hi.
look at him.
Hi, Santa.
You have our attention. Congratulations. Mission accomplished.
Seems like the perfect opportunity for a mascot dance-off.
Can you believe this song is like 20 years old now? Like next year, the first Spice Girls album can vote. Or drink legally. It already can vote. Anyway, it can't because it's not a citizen. Hey, Slaughterhouse 5'1", Damsel of Doom are the jammers.
Damsel of Doom cutting through right in the middle. It comes out as lead jammer. Slaughterhouse 5'1" also out of the pack, and we've got ourselves a race. Hellions have the blocker advantage. Damsel of Doom going to the low side, able to call it off. No points for the Blackouts. Only three for the St. Hellions. That was a race of the jammers, and Damsel of Doom forced to call it off because Slaughterhouse was right on her heels.
4-4 pack lined up behind them are Gringa Kapinga jamming for Hellions, Shadow Breaker for the Blackouts.
Shadowbreaker playing a little bit of D, Gringa playing a little bit of D, going slow, really trying to figure out where they want to go. Gringa sees a hole down to the low side and cuts right back to the middle, comes out lead jammer St. Hellions. Shadowbreaker comes out of the pack as well, coming on her initial pass. Gringa Kapinga meeting up with actually kind of a few of her own blockers in the back of the pack. Calls off that jam. Shadowbreaker coming up quick.
One blocker down for St. Hellions. They're sending Lumber Smack to the jam line. Crouched alongside Plunder Woman, 75, first-year skater for Rolling Blackouts.
Hellions down a blocker, giving the Rolling Blackouts the pack advantage. Plunder Woman trying to fight up against Raven Seaward and Dirty Destroyer. No going there. Lumber Smack comes out as lead jammer for the St. Hellions.
Dirty Destroyer sending Plunder Woman to the infield, almost to the opposite side of the track. Rolling Blackouts jammer still trying to make the initial pass. Here is Lumber Smack now on a scoring trip. Goes right through the center, easy peasy, for a full contingent of points.
Dirty Destroyer pushed out of the way by Slaughterhouse 5'1", given a hole for Plunder Woman to come out on her initial pass. Lumber Smack, number 2x4 with the St. Hellions and lead jammer, is met by Knee-High Nightmare, sent to the inside right as the 60-second jam clock ends.
6 points there for the Hellions. That brings them past the century mark, 103-53. 5.5 minutes remain in the third period. 4-4 pack, two jammers by the names of Melee and Shadowbreaker.
Shadowbreaker sees an opportunity to the inside, but is met by Caddy LaBelle, who deposits her onto the inside of the track. But Shadowbreaker not stopping, gets back on the track and ping pongs her way off of Caddy LaBelle and comes out as lead jammer for the Rolling Blackouts.
Melee finds an opening there at turn 4, makes the initial trip through the pack for St. Hellions. A lot of physicality in that 4-4 pack. Here comes Shadowbreaker now on a scoring attempt. Gets blasted to the inside by Caddy LaBelle. Melee hits the pack, steals lead jammer status, calls it off. So we have 3 points scored by the Hellions. And two for the Rolling Blackouts.
Dirty Destroyer on the jam line for the St. Hellions, taking on Berserker for, I'm sorry, Slaughterhouse 5'1" for the Rolling Blackouts.
Don't steal my gimmick, bro. Derby Destroyer finds it opening there at turn 1. Lead jammer St. Hellions with Slaughterhouse 5'1" staring and a hole right through her back.
Dirty Destroyer sees an opportunity for a tiny little apex jump right there on turn 3. And as she does that and gets back on the track, calls off that jam. Slaughterhouse right on her heels. Now Berserker on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts. Going up against Scream Puff for the St. Hellions.
Scream Puff going up, going down, gets blasted to the inside by Honey Badger. Berserker is right about the same spot there. Bouncing off the concrete. Now Rolling Blackouts there at turn 3. Have that solid steel 3-wall holding back the Hellions jammer. Berserker going up, going down, sees a whole lot of Crusher Frequency, Alienator, and Caddy LaBelle.
Scream Puff met by Honey Badger, who knocks her to the inside. Oh, and we have Berserker, who takes that opportunity to come around as lead jammer for the Rolling Blackouts. Looks like we might actually have a damaged skate by Scream Puff. She is off the track, essentially turning this into a power jam for the Rolling Blackouts and Berserker.
But the Hellions defense definitely bringing the power on that jam, holding Berserker back on that scoring pass. Only 3 points allowed, so it's still 107 for the Hellions and now 58 for Rolling Blackouts 2 minutes before the third quarter ends.
D20, Damsel of Doom, jamming for the St. Hellions, taking on Plunder Woman for the Rolling Blackouts. Both jammers trying to find their way through the middle of the pack currently. Damsel of Doom going to the high side right on the outside of Knee High Nightmare. Comes around as lead jammer.
Wonder Woman gets through at the bottom apex. That is the initial pass for Rolling Blackouts. Damsel of Doom now on a scoring trip. Pinballing off of all those teal jerseys up and down. Calls off the jam before Plunder Woman can catch the back of the pack at 1 point or another. She passed every single blocker, which means 4 points for the Rolling Blackouts. St. Hellions.
Shadowbreaker on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts. Starting well back in the box for a jammer, taking on Gringa Kapinga, number 99 for the St. Hellions.
And calling for a jam reset. So, kayfabe, that never happened. We're lining back up again. 4-on-4 pack, Gringa Kapinga, Shadowbreaker wearing the stars. Something, something, rules, rules, derby!
Yay! Both jammers taking it slow, finding the holes that they want to get through to get their lead jammer status. Gringa Kapinga sent down to the track.
Green Pinga knocked to the inside for just a hot second, but that allows the Rolling Blackouts defense to reform at the front of the pack. They're trying to bridge, keep in that 20-foot engagement zone. Honey Badger with the 1-2, thumping with the rumpin', keeps Green Kapinga in check for the initial trip.
Gringa Kapinga, after almost 3/4 of that jam, fighting her way through, comes out as lead jammer for the St. Hellions. Shadowbreaker still fighting that back 3-wall from the St. Hellions, a Crusher Frequency, Alienator, and Melee. 60-second jam clock expires.
And the period clock expires. So we are going into the fourth quarter now after a 5-minute break. Hellions are up 111-58. So the Peeps Bake Sale. And how? How are you? All right, 15 more minutes.
Hey everybody, we are getting Derby started again, and this time it looks like we have a St. Hellions Power Jam brought to you by Dirty Destroyer.
Dirty Destroyer, delicious and nutritious. What?
St. Hellions down a blocker, as are the Rolling Blackouts, which means less skaters on the track, which means a bigger hole wide open for Dirty Destroyer to get through, coming around on her initial pass.
Hellions have that goat trapped in the back. Oh, not anymore. Of course, roller derby is a high-impact, hardcore, full-contact sport. The safety of our skaters is of the utmost importance, so we appreciate your patience while the EMTs tend to the skater on the track. I'd like to thank our EMTs for their swift response. Best wishes to Dirty Destroyer, who has kind of a half grimace, half smile going on. So buy her all the drinks at the after party. At the Route 2 tap room, just a mile and a half that way, concluding our evening tonight.
Dirty was able to actually, she picked up 4 points on that jam before it was called.
Rolling Blackouts are going to have a 4-3 blocker advantage. Raven Seaward sitting in the middle for a stop block. Or stopping on the track, excuse me.
Slaughterhouse 5'1" on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts, taking on 99 Gringa Kapinga for the St. Hellions. Both jammers trying to fight their way through the back of the pack right now. Gringa Kapinga finds a huge hole on the high side, comes out as lead jammer for the St. Hellions. Slaughterhouse 5'1" on a foot race with Caddy LaBelle and wins that race, comes around on her initial pass.
Gringa Kapinga now in scoring contention, breezes right by everybody, hits it, splits it, quits it for another St. Hellions scoring pass. 4 points to be exact.
Pandemic jamming for the St. Hellions, taking on Shadowbreaker for the Rolling Blackouts. Shadowbreaker sees a hole on the low side, tiptoes, but not able to get out before Pandemic, who is your lead jammer.
Shadowbreaker finds an opening there at turn 3, makes the initial pass for Rolling Blackouts. Now the 4-4 pack is just creeping around. Pandemic calls off the jam, getting a little rowdy with it, scoring 3 more points for the Hellions.
.506 melee on the jam line for the St. Hellions.
Against Slaughterhouse, 5'1" of Rolling Blackouts.
Nobody in the penalty. Oh.
No, Pandemic's going to the penalty box.
Making a liar out of me. So Melee comes off the track as the jammer for the St. Hellions, and we now have a power jam for the Rolling Blackouts. Rolling Blackouts swapping out some of their skaters.
Like it may have had 5 on the track when that whistle blew. So we're having a quick reset. Making sure everything is squeaky clean. Everything. Nope, team timeout taken by St. Hellions right before that jam was begun. Jilted Thunder Railbirds strive to improve our community by partnering with local community organizations. Today's featured charity is Meow Cat Rescue, because all 9 lives are precious. Meow promotes lifelong relationships between people and companion animals, providing shelter and care for each precious life until adopted into a forever home. Stop by their table at the entrance to learn more and to pet the kitties.
One thing about Meow Cat Rescue is they do not discriminate. They also have a dog rescue portion of their nonprofit. They don't have any dogs inside their shelter, but if you go online to meowcatrescue.org, you can get all of the info.
Lining back up 4-4 pack. Behind them is one single solitary jammer. Slaughterhouse 5'1" with the Rolling Blackout Power Jam.
Slaughterhouse on a foot race with Caddy LaBelle. They've been battling all day. Slaughterhouse meets up with Scream Puff. Comes out and gets away. Caddy LaBelle out of play beyond that 20-foot mark, having to wait for that pack to catch back up.
Hellions defense able to swarm back around Slaughterhouse. Now 1-2 punch in the front with Caddy LaBelle melee. Taking Slaughterhouse up and down and back around, curtailing this first scoring pass.
Caddy LaBelle now teaming up with Melee until she's put to the inside by Shadowbreaker. The Hellions doing a pretty darn good job at a penalty kill right now.
That's 60 seconds. That's the jam, and that is 4 more points for the Rolling Blackouts. They have 62. Hellions sitting pretty at 125. 8 minutes and change remaining in the game.
Caddy LaBelle in the penalty box for the St. Hellions, giving the Rolling Blackouts the 4-on-3 blocker advantage. Raven Seaward on the jam line for the St. Hellions for the first time tonight, donning the star, and comes out as lead jammer.
Wonder Woman trying to get past that Hellions defense. Everybody gets big pile there on the back stretch. Wonder Woman back up, and here is Raven Seaward muscling her way through that pack. Getting through, gets blocked to the inside by
Foxy Opossum, sending her to the inside, forcing Raven Seaward to call that off before Plunder Woman can get to the back of the pack. Should need a penalty on the jam line for the Rolling Blackouts, taking on Melee for the St. Hellions.
First time Shanita Penalty has worn the star this game. I believe she comes to us by way of the Jet City Roller Girls. But Melee, the original Tilted Thunder Railbird, gets through lead jammer for her St. Hellions.
Should need a penalty met by Caddy LaBelle, who sends her to the inside of the track, also opening up a hole for Melee, who is kind of sitting behind Honey Badger, trying to catch back up to Honey Badger, and gets around her, coming around for another scoring pass.
Melee crawls along that rail, pulling herself through the pack, scoring points. Already coming back around for more. Takes a hip haymaker there from Slaughterhouse 5'1".
Fantastic hit by Slaughterhouse 5'1", sending Melee 3 feet to the inside of the infield of the track.
But Melee able to score 10 points, pushing up the Hellions lead now 139 to 62. Just under 6 minutes remain in regulation.
Donning the star for the first time today, Betty Ford Galaxy, number 12 for the Rolling Blackouts.
Against 1999 Sci-Fi Wasabi of St. Hellions. Little trivia, at the very first team game, Betty Ford Galaxy was a call-up playing with Royal Crush, making her return and getting lead jammer here at the tail end for Rolling Blackouts.
Sci-Fi Wasabi going one-on-one with Berserker, who at the moment is not letting her through. Nice little hole to the low side, allowing Sci-Fi to get a little bit further inside the pack. Betty Ford Galaxy coming up to the back, calls it off.
And official timeout being called. So we have 139 for St. Hellions, 64 for Rolling Blackouts. Under 5 minutes to go in this game, and our main event coming up after it, Sugar Skulls versus Royal Crush.
All right, everybody. After this bout, less than 5 minutes to go, during the break between now and the main event. Make sure you head outside if you're hungry and check out Big Dogs. They're located just outside the ticket entrance.
You will not believe how big their dogs are.
I think it actually says the biggest wiener in the Northwest on their truck.
Oh, there's lots I can say to that, but you'll be able to hear that if you ever come to 3, 2, 1 battle, and the rules are a little bit more lax on what I can say on the microphone.
Yeah, you gotta go easy, Murray. We are live streaming.
All right, whatever that official review was for, looks like it has been settled. We're ready to go on with Jam 41 of this game. 139 Hellions, 64 Blackouts, Slaughterhouse 5'1", jamming against Scream Puff.
Hellions down a blocker, giving the advantage to the Rolling Blackouts. Scream Puff
catches him napping, hops right around at top apex, gets lead jammer for St. Hellions.
Scream Puff, a new skater with the St. Hellions. Looks like she's fitting in just fine. Tiptoeing on that low side, right on the coping. Just as Slaughterhouse 5'1" also comes around on her initial pass.
Scream Puff calls it off at the very last second, putting 4 points on the board, making sure every single second ticks off that game clock while St. Hellions have the lead. 143 for them, 64 for the Rolling Blackouts.
I'm sorry. We have another official timeout on the track.
So if you come to the after party at the Route 2 tap room, a mile and a half that way on Route 2, happening after the final game, you can tell Santa what you think about all these official timeouts. And he'll love to discuss it with each and every one of you. 2 St. Hellions sitting in the penalty box. That means a 4-2 pack advantage for Rolling Blackouts, Shadowbreaker, and Damsel of Doom wearing the stars. Damsel of Doom takes a Jersey whip from Raven Seaward, gets past Berserker lead jammer for St. Hellions.
Shadowbreaker going up against Raven Seaward. Shadowbreaker finding that high hole right up against the rail, getting on by, coming around for her initial pass. Damsel of Doom also taking the high side, coming around for another scoring pass. Whiff by Berserker, and then she calls it off before Shadowbreaker comes to the back of the pack.
Wonder Woman melee wearing the stars, nobody in the penalty box.
Both jammers looking for an opening, looking to see if their blockers can open something up. Melee getting a little bit of a Jersey whip there from Scream Puff. Melee comes out as lead jammer for the St. Hellions. Plunder Woman being met by Alienator and Caddy LaBelle on the front wall of the St. Hellions.
Wonder Woman squeaks out of the pack there right before turn 1 as the initial pass for Rolling Blackouts. May now scoring trip, gets through, calls it off, scores 4 more points for the St. Hellions.
Just over 2 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, St. Helens definitely making a statement against the defending champions. Going to be riding this momentum into our next game happening October 14th right here at the Monroe Fairgrounds.
Shadowbreaker jamming for the Rolling Blackouts, going up against 2x4 Lumber Smack for the St. Helens. Lumbersmack is at the front of the pack, but she is met with some resistance by Berserker and the Rolling Blackouts. Some hard hitting, but Lumbersmack able to bounce to the inside and comes through as lead jammer for the St. Hellions.
Shadowbreaker taken down hard, but she is a tough cookie. Crawls back on the track, trying to sprint through the pack, making the Rolling Blackout initial pass. Blasted the inside by Raven. Seawater also went out of bounds. That's how Shadowbreaker is able to get back on the track so quickly. Lumbersmack in scoring contention.
Five points picked up by the St. Hellions on that jam.
Game clock ticking down. This could be the final jam of the game. Let's hear it for all the derby you've seen so far. And an official timeout being taken with 32 seconds remaining on the game clock.
And here we go back onto the track. And we're going to have a power jam on this last jam for the St. Hellions. Gringa Kapinga donning the star on her helmet. Getting a lot of resistance from Shanita Penalty, Hawk Block, and Honey Badger at the back of that three wall.
The Hellions playing it very safe, very slow, because if they score a penalty and the Blackouts don't, we could go into a penalty jam. Green Pingo looked like had an opening but got to the inside. That baby done been eaten, caught behind Slaughterhouse 5'1", and the rest of that Rolling Blackouts wall. This pack going at a glacial pace.
Gringa Kapinga going slow and then sees an opening. Slaughterhouse 5'1", though, is able to catch back up to her and deposit Gringa Kapinga to the inside of the track. Yeah, absolutely. St. Hellions just trying to wear down that clock, and there it is, the whistle.
Remember, if the Hellions scored a penalty, the Blackouts skated clean. We could have a possible penalty jam situation. We're going to see what the referees tabulate. And there was a penalty committed by the St. Hellions, which means we are having one more penalty jam. Dirty Destroyer with a low block. Lining up one more time. Blackouts fans, what do you think about this opportunity?
Berserker jamming for the Rolling Blackouts, going up against Raven Seaward for the St. Hellions.
Berserker pushed to the inside by Sci-Fi Wasabi. Raven Seaward gets through, picks up lead status, calls it off, playing it safe. And remember, there's always a possibility for more penalty jams. But not right now, because we have an official score. The St. Hellions win 156-64 over the Rolling Blackouts. So give it up for the victors tonight, St. Hellions! You can come down trackside, get some high fives. And keep that noise train going for the Rolling Blackouts. All right, now we're going to take a 15-minute intermission while the Sugar Skulls and Royal Crush warm up on the track. Oh, but before that, I'm getting ahead of myself. We have the game MVPs being awarded center track. DJ Fatty LaBelle is on the scene.
The MVPs for the Rolling Blackouts. For MVP Jammer, we have Breaker. Oh, Jammer. There we go. I did it backwards. Okay. Yeah. All right, and for MVP Blocker, we have Honey Badger.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for the Rolling Blackouts, Honey Badger and Shadowbreaker. And now for the Blackouts MVPs for the St. Hellions.
Do you want to join me? Okay. Is it on? Okay, for Hellions Jammer MVP, and your stuff is back in our locker room. Hello? Is this thing on? Okay. For Hellions MVP Jammer, we have Gringa Kapinga. We have shit in our locker room for you. And for Blocker, they're in the locker room. Oh, yeah. Sorry, we were debating. For our Blocker, we have Caddy LaBelle. You said Raven. I said Raven. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for Gringa Kapinga and Caddy LaBelle, your MVPs for the St. Hellions. Now we will be back in 15 minutes as the Sugar Skull